Let me ask you a question. You think the country's going in the right direction, or does it feel like everything's falling apart? If you're feeling alarmed sometimes, you're not alone. It's best to be prepared. Folks, emergencies happen. Hurricanes, storms, tornadoes, terror attacks happen. They do. I wish they didn't. But the best thing you can do is to store food in your home, have water and food, and be prepared. Where are you going to get the food from? Where I get it from. My Patriot Supply. They have a 3-month emergency food kit. The food in there is delicious. Mushroom rice pilaf, creamy stroganoff, honey wheat bread, and others. 2,000 calories a day per kit. That'll keep you alive in an emergency. You don't want to go around scrounging for food, waiting on some government line where you're going to starve to death. The food lasts 25 years in storage. So when the emergency comes, and it will, you'll be ready. So go today. Go to mypatriotsupply.com. Order your 3-month emergency food kit from My Patriot Supply. That's mypatriotsupply.com. mypatriotsupply.com. All right, fellas, let's go. So this weekend was freaking bananas. Totally crazy pills time. So much to talk about. I got pictures. I got video. I got behind the scenes video. I got stories. So let me just start quick. I was off on Friday. We put together an election wrap-up special. My apologies. I should have told you in advance, but so many things happen so quick. Sometimes the kid just has to bounce, and like a bounce. And I just had a bounce, okay? So we still put together a show. My team, a lot of people watched it. We appreciate it. So Friday, I wound up, this is a little bit more personal, but I had to take a break because there was so much going on. I was like drinking from a fire hose. So I went to the Stars and Strings concert. It was a benefit for Folds of Honor. It's a great charity. It was down in the Hard Rock. And we had a great time, my wife and I. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but just one quick thing. I was playing some blackjack, and I'm even the whole night. I'm not winning anything. And I'm playing there. And Paula says to me, hey, take that $500 chip there, which I never bet $500. I'm not like, some big gambler right there. $50 maybe, sometimes less per hand. I just like having fun, So I put down the 500. She's like, you're going to hit a blackjack on this thing. I'm like, no way. What comes out? A freaking queen and an ace. Yeah, baby. That was my winning. I'm like, we're out. Goodbye. I'm done. So I did pretty good at blackjack. The concert was amazing. Bailey Zimmerman, Riley Green, Megan Maroney was there. Parker McCollum. And I got to tell you, I'm not too hip to like the music scene all the time. I have my specific artists. Jordan Davis, I think his name was amazing. These guys just tore it up. So that's when the real action happens. So Friday, I find out, we're going up to the UFC, up at MSG, Madison Square Garden. A friend of mine calls and says, we got to go up. So we go up and we're hanging. I want to just quickly thank Dana White, president of the UFC, for always taking good care of me and Paula. Put us right up there in the front. Your guy, he's the man. I love Dana. He could not have been kinder. Thank you to him. So we're sitting there and we're kind of hanging out. And Dana's got a little, VIP room, green room. And we're hanging out in there. And Chris from the CEO of Rumble and I, we're chatting with a few people. And all of a sudden, this crew of people pile in. And folks, it's the craziest thing ever. It's like, put up these pictures first. I just want to show you. These are like people, I never get out of my house. So first is, you ever see, this guy, Triple H, Paul Levesque, amazing. I watched the WWE. I still watch the A&E specials. You ever see this guy? Jelly Roll, couldn't have been nicer. Jelly couldn't have been, what a great guy. I was like, hey, and you ever see this guy? Yeah, both of them. That's Kid Rock and then Elon. And then who's that woman over there? That's the lovely Paula. And Elon couldn't have been nicer, by the way. She was like, Elon, can you take a picture? She's like, yeah, sure. Come on over. I talked to him for just a couple minutes. I told him, by the way, thank you for helping to save free speech. Wasn't a big, long conversation. I don't want to be dramatic. Maybe a minute or two, but super nice guy. That was Paula with Aiden Ross and his dad. Great guys. And I think that's the guy who hosts the Bar School show in the back. But Aiden's a super popular live streamer. This is Chris from Rumble. Hold this picture up a second. Chris is going down to do the walkout, and he gets stuck in the elevator with Trump, Elon, Dana White, and then that's Sean from the Secret Service who got inadvertently caught up in the shot. So Chris, they asked him to take a selfie, and he did, and this thing went viral right away. That's Chris from Rumble. So he's a trip. And then I was sitting down in the front right there, and right in front of me was Triple H, and Eric came over and said, let's take a picture. So there's another good one. Me, Triple H, and Eric. There's Aiden, me, and Chris. me winking like, oh my gosh, look at that. And then this was Don Jr. said, this was all of us in the section. It's me, Chris, Don, Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H. There's me and Trump, me scanning the crowd, going all like, whoa, ninja style, Secret Servicey. Trump giving the iconic thumbs up, his favorite picture. Met RFK, by the way. Couldn't have been nicer. Ran into him in the green room. Super nice guy. We spoke a little bit about some stuff. Here's some video from Paula's camera. So let me just tell you before you play it. Let me just explain this to you. So I'm in this VIP room, right, with them, and they're getting ready for the walkout. And, when the walkout with Trump, and I don't typically do the walkout because I don't. I just go and take my seat. It's not my thing. I mean, I don't. And as I'm walking out, Dana says, Bongino. And I said, what's up? In front of this whole crew. It's like Tulsi, RFK, Don Jr., Don DJT. And he goes, Bongino. He goes, you come do this walkout with us. He goes, you help too. I said, hell yeah, I'm not going to say no to that shit. So I get in the elevator. We're going to do the walkout. Paula grabs my hand. She looks at me. She's like, can you believe this shit? I'm getting ready to walk out to this UFC crowd with Trump. This is Paula's camera. It got cut off about 5 seconds in. But this was freaking crazy, folks. I'm telling you, you have no idea how bananas this thing was. This is how it's. The videos online do it no justice. I have never in my life heard a roar like this. This was the end of it because we were like 4 or 5 people behind Trump. I was like behind Elon and Kid Rock, and and we were kind of chatting, the president and I, throughout the night a little bit. Some of you saw it on video and on camera. So there we are, right there, looking around, checking things out, checking out the screen. Yeah, it was, folks. It was nuts. Listen. You can just see the crowd. There's Paula right there, right next to me. And that's, I think was that Lorenzo Fertitta, the guy who was one of the original UFC guys. So RFK right over there, Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson took a picture, and right over the shoulder, I kind of inadvertently photobombed. Me and Trump were talking about something. So me and the president were talking about something. Paula peeking in there right in the background, of course, causing trouble. Folks, it was an amazing event. I want to show you this, too. The best part of the night, at the end of the night, Johnny Bones Jones, congratulations. He beats Stipe Miocic. He dominated him the whole fight, folks. I was there. I saw it. But this happened at the end of the night. Paul and I were seriously like maybe 8-10 feet away. And I didn't think John Jones was going to do this, man. He's what a nice guy. He gave a shout out to Jesus Christ, which is what really matters. And then he comes outside the ring with the belt. And then this happens with President Trump. And man, it's like, folks, keep in mind, it's about 2 a.m. when this is happening. And this place, it might as well have been 8 o'clock at night. There's Johnny Bones Jones giving him the belt. Trump takes it. This moment was so special, man. I can't even tell you. And I know, right? There you go. He said it right. There you go. Trump, Nazi, white supremacist. He's like the worst Nazi white supremacist ever. This is the one thing he's failed at terribly. We're seriously like right over his right shoulder. We could hear John Jones. And man, it was just an incredible, incredible event. So I know a lot of you are interested in a lot of the behind the scenes about who's what. I'm just here again to repeat. None of this stuff is my decision, okay, about anything. You guys know what I'm talking about. And there's a lot to think about if that decision were to happen. And you guys will be the first to know, okay? Because I love you and you guys matter. And so just hang with me, CNN, of course, had a meltdown about the walkout and the whole event. Folks, the place went nuts. We were in the middle of the heart of Manhattan, liberal Manhattan. And I'm telling you, it was the loudest thing I've ever heard. I promise you those videos do it no justice. If you saw it live, Joe Rogan, I think Cormier were doing the announcement. They were like, you could barely hear yourself talk. People were screaming, USA. It was nuts. Trump was doing the dance at the end, to Trump, the robot. CNN absolutely melted down because they just can't take it that this guy has a popular mandate now in the support of the people. So this is what happened on CNN, comparing it to some like Roman gladiator event. Just stupidity. Check this out.
He's flooded the zone with these picks and forced Republicans to choose. And I think it's interesting to me that he brought Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr. to the UFC event last night. He is, frankly, giving, I think, supporter-based permission structure, and he's made these folks stars over the course of this campaign. I mean, in some ways, it's easy to view this, I think, through a different lens. Like, this is also just a person who won following through on campaign promises. He promised retribution, he promised vengeance, and he promised these kind of figures having prominent places in this administration, and he's delivering it. And for a lot of those supporters, that is the point of the Trump vote.
Folks, this is just, you guys remember Cenk from the Young Turks? He did that debate with us. He's a left-wing guy. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But Cenk has been, I actually followed him on X because he's been putting out from the left some interesting perspectives and takes. And I think it's important, and you guys probably vibe with me on this, that we don't ignore that. We're not going to agree with it. We're not lefties, okay? We're going to fight against a lot of what they want, collectivism and socialism. But it's important to understand them. And I think Cenk and others are finally waking up that they missed something. Because Cenk put this thing out saying, shit, man, the mainstream media, we're like dead now. Like, we don't even, look at this, the show. Folks, we're 11 minutes in. We got 140,000 people. We have a bigger audience right now than the entire, CNN demo. I mean, that's nuts. Think about it. They're on basically every cable news affiliated home in the country. You're talking about tens of millions of homes. And little Dan Bongino from the back of this tiny studio with his 3 guys has a bigger audience right now demo-wise than they do. We're winning. They're losing. And that's why you see, again, this melt. Oh, these figures are all about vengeance. I spoke to Tulsi for a good 5 minutes in the green room. The idea of vengeance never came up. The idea of accountability did, but those are not the same things. Those are not the same things. Vengeance. The CNN is obsessed. They're the only ones obsessed with vengeance. Folks, I'm getting a little worried because the left is, as predicted, I told you they were going to get their sea legs. They were wobbly, using the UFC analogy. They took a few bad shots. Their knees were wobbly. But eventually, just like happened in the Chandler-Oliveira fight, when Chandler was hitting him, Oliveira got his head together. The left, it was only going to take him a little bit. I warned you, don't get too excited about the cannibalism. Like, eventually the money and the donors are going to figure out how to try to get this thing back. Shenanigans are everywhere, and I want you to pay close attention to a couple of stories because we were out on Friday. The Senate Democrats are now freaking out that the Republican majority that's coming in are going to do exactly what the Senate Democrats pledged to do to us. Washington Examiner, Schumer to Republicans, please don't do to us what we were going to do to you. I want to focus on one thing here because it's critical. The Democrats were going to destroy the filibuster, the 60-vote threshold to get something passed in the Senate. Sorry for the basic civics lesson, but there are liberals listening. Some of them aren't that bright, okay? There's 100 senators. Because of the filibuster, you effectively need, if you don't use reconciliation, which is most things, you need 60 votes to pass. Folks, we don't have 60. It's not the case in the House where it's a majority. We have 53 coming in. So we're going to have to surpass filibuster numbers to get a lot of big ticket items passed. Well, what if we can't? Then it's going to go down in flames. The Democrats wanted to scrap that and make it a simple 51 vote to get something past majority. To the Republicans in the Senate, this may be controversial, but I'm going to throw this out there. I got to tell you, man, I know you don't like the idea of dumping the filibuster, but the Democrats, if they take charge, are going to do it. They're going to do it. So I'm not telling you to do it. I'm just telling you should be considering it because I'm telling you they're going to do it. And now you've got 53 and the House. You could do big things. They're going to do it. There are shenanigans afoot everywhere. Did you see this tweet? They're trying to steal the Pennsylvania Senate race and the North Carolina Supreme Court race and a bunch of other seats in California. Folks, the election's not over. Now it's work time. I told you we would take weeks up. We still celebrate. Great. Everything's going good so far. But man, it's time to get our work boots back on. Even the Washington Post is now starting to point out that the Democrats are now illegally counting votes in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, trying to steal this Senate seat. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't. I don't think they're, even with the attempted theft and the creation of new phantom votes that aren't legal, I still don't think they have the numbers. But even the Post is like, hey, Democrats thumb their nose at the rule of law in Pennsylvania. Elections need rules, and they must be applied equally and consistently. How bad do you have to F something up that the Washington Post is calling you out? I'm just saying, folks, they are pushing full steam ahead in Bucks County and elsewhere to count actually illegal votes. You can see the race is tightening up. It's not going to happen. McCormick's going to be fine, I think. But we got to keep our eyes on this. They've done this before. Here's the Bucks County tweet. Bucks County, they're trying to flip it. Bucks County may flip to Harris and the Democrats. And by the way, this is a mention of the North Carolina Supreme Court race too. The Democrat is now, after still counting votes, unbelievably, 2 freaking weeks, the Democrats now up by, I think, 26 votes. They know a lot of ballot counting is taking place after the election. Listen, Republicans, when you get in charge here, this has to stop. This has to stop. It is election day. It's not election season. You've now got, in some cases, almost a month plus of early voting. We're now 2 weeks after the election. Guy just said it right. We're still counting. Folks, it is never meant to be a 2, 3, 4 month election. It's election day. To the Republicans listening and the constituents out there and the Bongino army, 4 more years we've got. We have got to clean this mess up. This should be the first piece of legislation passed by the Republicans in the House, at least in federal elections they can control, that there will be no more counting of votes after Election Day. Early voting, it should be in and counted. Ballots should have to be in by Election Day. That's it. Unbelievable. It's North Carolina Supreme Court race. They're going to try to steal this thing. That's Eric Daughtry writes, the ballots continue to be counted. Now the Democrat mysteriously takes the lead. How are states still counting? Endless counting means endless possibilities for cheating, folks. It's got to stop. This has to be initiative number 1. Who in the chat agrees? I didn't get the chance to interact with you guys Friday. Do you think this should stop? Like election night, that's it? Yes or no? Why? Yes, it should stop. No, we should count for 3 and 4 months. You got Senate, you got what do you call it? You got congressional races in California that unbelievably still haven't been called. It's freaking 2 weeks later. Well, this is unanimous. We may break the chat. By the way, Chris, the CEO of Rumble, is super impressed with the Bongino army. Here's the thing about the chat. Here's how you know our audience is real. You guys want to let me, I'll let you in on a little secret. There are a lot of fakers out there in the live streaming world who say they put up big numbers. Look at that chat. Look at that. Yes, look at what we have. There are a lot of fakers in the live streaming world. Did you know that? They want to say, oh, look, I have 90,000 streamers. You know what a lot of their streamers are? They're bots. They're fake. Not all of them, but a lot of people do that. You know how you can tell who the fakers are? Go to their chat, because bots don't chat. Well, you can have chat bots, but they don't answer questions. We ask a question, we light that chat on fire. We light that chat on fire. Because you people in the Bongino army are real. Go to their chat. There's nobody in there. I thought you got 100,000 people watching. Now, why is there nobody in your chat? Because you don't. I don't like fakers. This is business for me, too. I'm an equity holder in Rumble. We want to make sure we know who the real players are. Folks, endless counting, endless possibilities for cheating. As I said to you, I'm going to take a quick break. I want to come back just quickly, not to relitigate the beginning of the show, but I was in the little green room area at the UFC, and Elon came in, and Elon there weren't a lot of people in this little room there, maybe 50 to 100. They said, you saw them, Jelly Roll, Triple H was there, a lot of really like influential kind of players in the business, influencer type folks and stuff. So when Elon walked in, Paulo went over and said hello, and he was nice. But I just very briefly talked with him. I don't like name droppers. Oh, we had a deep conversation. No, we didn't, I promise you. But I did say to him, hey, man, I really appreciate, your role in fighting back in the war for free speech. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. We would not have won the election like we did without X. What are you saying? Trump wouldn't have won? No, I think Trump would have been fine. But some of those Senate races, no, I don't think we would have. And down ballot stuff, I'm not sure we would have either if we did not have X in its form now. I want to show you this quick clip of Elon and Rogan, and you'll see what I mean. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we don't have the First Amendment. We don't have anything. That's the real fight going forward. Quick break. We'll be right back. Hey, when the doctors at Brickhouse Nutrition announce a Black Friday sale, it's a big deal. Now's the time to save a bundle when you reboot and optimize your health. It's the biggest sale of the year on everything. That includes Field of Greens, the fruit and vegetable powder I drink every single day. They promise your doctor will notice your improved health from good nutrition or your money back. Where are you going to get that anywhere else? The Black Friday sale also includes one of my favorite products, Lean. A couple people saw my pics. You can read the comments yourself. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn. They're like, Dan, you look good. I can't believe you're 50. Thank you. I appreciate it. Self-praise stinks. I'm not saying that. Lean's one of the reasons. If you go back in my Instagram and you look, you'll notice I lost a lot of weight, about 30 pounds. Lean was how I did it, Lean. And their collagen accelerator, listen, my skin should be falling apart right now. It doesn't. It's a really great collagen product. It's called Radiance. Check it out. From weight loss to sleep aids, creatine, to whole food bars, they're all on sale. Go today to fieldofgreens.com. Fieldofgreens.com. Use the code SALE. This is a huge sale for them. Promo code SALE, S-A-L-E, at fieldofgreens.com. Try Lean, try Field of Greens, try Radiance. That's my combo to kind of stay young and frosty. This is the last time, and don't forget, promo code SALE at fieldofgreens.com. Check it out. All right, back to the show. So I got to thank Elon. Very nice guy. I really appreciate what he did. Here was Elon, and this was the game-changing moment, I think, that helped us win this election so forcefully. And by the way, don't believe the new media narrative on CNN and elsewhere. They're like, Trump fell below 50% of the popular vote. Dopey losers, okay, at CNN. There were two choices. The fact that there were stragglers in the race, Jill Stein and others and other people, does not take away at all from the fact that we disposed of the Democrats and Kamala Harris in nearly every competitive race in the country and won the popular vote by millions of votes. Don't believe the bullshit. This was a mandate, but it wouldn't have happened as convincingly down ballot without this. Check this out.
But if it wasn't for you buying that and changing Twitter, I don't think we would be where we're at right now. I think it was a pivotal moment. I think historically, when people look back on it, it's going to be a pivotal moment in this very bizarre fight for the freedom of information.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the time I said, I think, look, I think this is existential to the United States. It's existential to democracy, because if you don't have freedom of speech, you don't have democracy. Okay, because if you don't have freedom of speech, people cannot make an informed vote. If they're just being fed propaganda, and there's no freedom of speech, democracy is an illusion.
Michael notes something interesting, that the chat peaked out at 92 posts per second, which is a stunning number in the chat. And that Pennsylvania, is counting votes at 6 votes per second. So Rumble leads the way. If you guys need some help counting votes, we can help you out. Give us a jingle. We'll help you guys out. But what Elon said is right, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't have freedom of speech, you don't have conflicting perspectives and the ability to judge who's right and who's wrong. That was a critical inflection point in this election. And don't believe the media bullshit. I promise you, I'm always ahead of the narrative. Always, always. Self-praise stinks, but in this case, screw it. You're going to see in the coming days, the narrative's going to shift. And you're going to see in the news and on Twitter, which has lost all influence, by the way, but they're still going to put it out there. You're going to see these stories. Trump only got 49.95% of the popular vote. It's all bullshit. It doesn't matter. You know what matters? You got even less. You suck on the left, okay? Sorry, you're bad, so sad. Now I got to get back to some critical stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, the nomination fights are heating up. This is going to be a dogfight. This is going to be plane-to-plane aerial combat, Top Gun style. This is going to get really ugly. Now, I'm telling you for a fact, whoever's out there pitching to you like, oh, the Trump team picked Gates and just a spur-of-the-moment thing, and they didn't really know what they were doing. Bullshit. Not everything they do is 4D chess. These cabinet picks have been. I'm going to explain to you something right now that I'm absolutely certain of, and you can take it to the bank. And media people who have been spinning an opposite narrative, get your pens out, start taking notes. You ready? The Trump team learned a valuable lesson from 2016 when Mike Flynn, no pun intended, got submarined. Military guy. But when he got submarined, when he got destroyed. The media zoned in. Michael, listen to this. So if this doesn't make sense, what they did is they let the media focus on one person, Flynn. And the media decided they were going to go all Saul Alinsky. Isolate. Remember Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals? Isolate the target. I don't know what rule that is, 4 or 5, whatever it is. Isolate the target. They managed in 2016 to destroy a good man and a patriot, Mike Flynn. And it's because, I'm not going to say they allowed him, but they got sidetracked with the Flynn thing. They have now learned a lesson, and we'll call it very simply the flood the zone tactic. I call it the rock'em sock'em robots tactic. I prefer that one. Media people are now calling it flood the zone, where the second they start to try to isolate Hegseth, Tulsi, or Gates, they hit them with someone else. And the media doesn't know who to focus on. And one, the media has less power than it did before. I told you that before because nobody's really listening to them. But when you break up their attention and they're trying to hit Tulsi, Gates, and Hegseth at the same time, and maybe like a Kash Patel if he gets FBI, he's my choice, but that's up to Donald Trump. They're going to go nuts over Kash Patel next. Do you get the point how partitioning your time and not isolating the target means you have no target at all? They're doing this on purpose. Anyone going like, oh my gosh, Trump team's really screwing up. They're naming controversial places. One, they're not controversial. They're only controversial because you don't like them. They're doing this on purpose. And I need you, the Bongino Army, to get ready for this dogfight and make sure you're members of the House. I know they don't have a role in the confirmation process, but they do have the senator's ear. And make sure your senators know Trump's picking his cabinet, and you guys better go along, because without him on the ballot, a lot of you guys wouldn't have a job. Everybody in the Bongino Army, you guys in? Yes or no? Are you in this fight with me? I don't ask you a lot. Throw some American flags in the chat. Trump has the right, he has earned the right to pick his own cabinet. And unless you have some reason like treason, then I don't want to hear it. You're damn right. Yeah, tear that chat up. Tear it up. Burn that thing to the ground. Burn it to the ground, kids. Burn it to the ground. He will pick his cabinet. And you're going to go along because you would not have a job. And I want you to remember, you work for us. We're not being, did we break that thing? Holy 75. 175. 175 chat texts per second. I think that's a new record for the Dan Bongino show. 172,000 watching, tearing up the internet. Rumble servers smoking, melting down. 118, 115, 100. Keep it up. Blow that thing up, man. Blow that sucker up. Oh, by the way, quick update before I get back to this. I don't mean to have like totally ADHD, but you know what this is? Like, damn, what is that? Some kind of like limitless drug? I forgot to take it. Red pill. It's a red pill. What are you trying? No, it's Keflex. Remember last week I was telling you guys my arthritis was acting up in my hands? That wasn't arthritis. I must have got a bite on my hand. I caught a massive infection in my hand. That's why it was all red. So I'm on Keflex now for a week, which is like a super potent antibiotic. Dan, that's too much information. There's never too much information on the show. It's a family. Look, it's better now, though. That wasn't arthritis. I got bit by something. That's why my hand was all freaking puffy. You should have seen it at the UFC. A couple of guys asked me, what are you fighting? Did you knock someone out? No, I'm not fighting. I said, I had cellulitis in my hand from getting bit by something. So luckily it's gone now, but I got to stay on this for 7 days. But it is a red pill. Kind of convenient, right? All right, I'm going to get back to these nominations in a second, and I'm going to show you who Pete Hegseth really is. I want you to listen to this clip of him on the Sean Ryan show, and you're going to see why Pete Hegseth is the right pick for Secretary of Defense. Or if you want to sound like tough, it's a Sec Def. I hate when people say that, but whatever. Folks, Helix has a great offer for my listeners. You know, Paula and I moved recently, and we had one request. I said, Paula, all of the bedrooms have to have a Helix mattress because every time people stay over it, they tell me, gosh, that's a really comfortable mattress. I sleep on one. I have the Midnight Lux. I absolutely love it. It all starts with a mattress suited to your needs. When you have a product personalized to you, it's going to be a better product. And you know the company's putting you first because they're allowing you to personalize it. They're not telling you what you need. You're telling you what you need. In just a few minutes, the Helix team, they'll learn about your sleep patterns and recommend the right mattress for you. You'll get the absolutely perfect match. All you got to do is tell them the position you sleep in and your body type, and they'll recommend the mattress for you. It's really simple. And for my listeners, and just for my listeners, they're offering 25% off site-wide, plus 2 free Dream pillows with any mattress purchase. You purchase a Luxe or Elite mattress, you get a free bedding bundle. What does that include? 2 Dream pillows, a sheet set, and a mattress protector. It's a great deal. You'll sleep on a cloud with this. Visit helixsleep.com/Dan, HELIX. Start your match today. That's helixsleep.com/Dan. Thank you, Helix. And our last sponsor today, before I get back to Pete, Genucel. Hey, check your jawline. Indeed, listen, sagging jawlines and the double chin, it could give your age away. It makes you look older. Introducing the Genucel Skincare Jawline Treatment with dual peptides and MDL technology. Genucel's most advanced ever. The jawline treatment not only helps tighten jawlines, but plumps the layers of the skin, the contour, define, and sculpt the jawline and neck in minutes. You know, people go abroad, they spend thousands of dollars to get rid of sagging jawlines and double chins. You should try Genucel first because no one has the technology. And with Genucel Immediate Effects, you can see tightening in minutes. The results get better every day. Just in time for Christmas, save over 70% off Genucel's complete skincare package featuring the jawline treatment and Genucel's Immediate Effects. You'll even get Genucel XV wrinkle treatment included for Christmas and the holidays. Go to Genucel.com/Dan. Start looking younger and decades younger for those family get-togethers. Genucel.com/Dan, GENUCEL.com/Dan. As a special holiday gift, every package order includes a bonus beauty box with 2 skincare bestsellers. You're automatically upgraded to free priority shipping. Genucel.com/Dan, Genucel.com/Dan. Try it out. Paula loves it. Back to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I love Pete Hegseth, a decorated military veteran, Fox News host, advocate, activist. This is why I think he's the best pick. This is from Sean Ryan's show. He's got an amazing podcast talking about why the trans ideology is destroying battlefield effectiveness in the military. And tell me after you hear this doesn't make just common sense. Check this out.
You had a Cat 4 dental. They pulled your tooth because you can't be out in the field with a major, dental emergency, but there's no dentist. And so I deployed with a lot of guys who were like, oh, because they just had a tooth pulled and they had to. Yet we're now allowing people who used to be men or women join, and then after that we pay for medical or physical transitions to another gender, which by definition makes them non-deployable and non-trainable because they're, and the same thing with asthma medication or inhalers. Like when you're in basic training, you can't have an inhaler when you're doing your exercises because you can't count on having an inhaler in a combat situation. Well, if you're medically dependent on drugs to maintain your gender or a particular balance of chemicals inside your body, you're by definition non-deployable. And so they'd have soldiers who can't train, can't deploy, have been on the books, and yet everyone has to be careful about what pronoun you use with them.
Folks in the chat, again, I love you guys. This show is always meant to be interactive. That's why we went live. Is this guy the guy or is this guy the guy? You think you're going to hear that kind of talk from anyone else? And by the way, what did he say that doesn't make sense? You got a combat operator with a tooth infection you can't put out in the field. Folks, I don't fake the funk, okay? That's an N. I don't fake the funk on anything. I've never been in the military. I have not been in combat, okay? Period, full stop-a-roo. I'm not a poser. I'm not going to pretend. But I'm not stupid. If you're going out in combat, Justin, you ever been in a combat situation? He has not. Justin's like, I'm not even out of college yet. Okay, but let me ask you. Justin's like, nobody likes war. He don't want to be involved. He's like, listen, let's stay out of wars. Like, that's a good thing. But you call Justin up, he'd do it, right? Because Justin's like, look at this guy. He's like ready to go. Like, I'll get him. I got America's back. But can we all agree here that if Justin has a massive tooth infection, right, that he probably becomes a liability in the Afghan mountains? Would you not, Justin? And it's not that Justin's in pain. It's that the infection could get bad and Justin could get a fever. And then what happens? 2 guys have to carry Justin and it takes 3 guys out of action. What about what Pete just said doesn't make sense. Then you get someone who wants a trans surgery and you're going to put them in a military situation where they're now not capable medically of being able to fight. What the hell's the point of that? You want to do that on your personal time? Go right ahead. What about what he just said doesn't make sense? You know it does. But do you see how the Trump team learned from the Mike Flynn situation? Flood the zone. Rock'em sock'em robots. That's what we do, Bongino Army. He just keeps hitting them with people. He just keeps hitting them over and over, and they don't know what to do. Here's a CNN clip. Whereas they got pressured last time to dump Flynn over that thing, it's not happening this time. I do not think they're backing down on this at all. Even CNN got wind of this. They're hearing Trump's all in on Matt Gaetz, who's been nominated for AG. And by the way, I support. I don't want to date the guy. Oh my gosh. Folks, we're in a serious political battle situation. The bad guys are that way. We can talk about your personal shit later. For now, they're down that way. They're not sideways. Here's CNN saying, hey, Trump's all in on Gaetz, and I'm telling you, they're all in on Hegseth too. Check this out.
We are learning tonight that Donald Trump remains determined to see Matt Gaetz' nomination through. He is very aware of the coverage and the blowback that Gaetz' nomination has received since that surprising announcement. And he has heard from his allies on Capitol Hill and Republican senators who are concerned that Gaetz does not have the support to get to 51 votes in the Senate. But Donald Trump is not backing down. He is telling his allies that he will dig into this fight. He is, quote, 100% in on Gaetz. One source telling us, quote, he is not going to back off. He's all in.
Good. Folks, I don't steer you wrong. I don't steer you wrong at all. I told you the Trump team has learned a lot. You have to remember in 2016, they were new to politics. Trump had never been elected to anything. They were new to politics, just a fact. I think they were blindsided by everything coming at them and their own friends screwing them over. They're not falling for that shit again. You understand? They're not. This is their pick and that's it. And the senators out there wouldn't have jobs without him. This is the guy. Here is the single best take you're going to hear. Folks, I don't like watching political violence on TV, but there was a murder on television. Live? There was. Someone notify the FBI immediately. Someone get a body bag. There was a murder on live television. There was. Was it like the Joker movie? Of course. It's bad. Did you see this clip, you guys? You know Molly Hemingway? We love Molly. Molly is the queen of ball busters. I love me some Molly Hemingway. Molly Hemingway's on Fox with Trey Gowdy, who's a whole other story. Trey Gowdy, who's always got something to say about these deep state issues, and amazingly is always on the wrong side of them, which is just incredible, which I've been calling out for a long time. I've never seen a guy on the wrong side of more issues than that. Trey Gowdy, of course, sitting there, oh my gosh, Matt Gaetz, hey, look at this. Here is Molly Hemingway with Trey sitting right on the panel. Folks, you want to watch a body bag situation on live TV? Here's her answering Trey Gowdy's condemnation of the Matt Gaetz pick. Oh, man. Someone, dial 911. There's been a political homicide on television. Check this out.
Right. Matt Gaetz was nominated for this position because we have a problem at the Department of Justice. For the last 8 years, they have run roughshod over rule of law in this country. They have prosecuted political opponents. They ran the Russia collusion hoax. And too many people in Washington, D.C. did not stand up against what was happening there. And many Americans are upset about it. Matt Gaetz is one of the most effective people at fighting that Russia collusion hoax and other information operations, whether it was the Brett Kavanaugh information operation, the Donald Trump Russia collusion hoax information operation, or the one that is referenced here, which is something that the FBI and Department of Justice, which hate Matt Gaetz, looked into and cleared him of any wrongdoing. The idea that this is about the issue is corruption. It's the Department of Justice's corruption. And people are sick and tired of people in Washington, D.C. doing nothing as these people try to destroy the country and getting upset at someone who actually might root out the corruption there. We don't have a Department of Justice. We have a Department of Injustice. And that's why you get Matt Gaetz as a nominee.
I'm moving quick now, right? I'm like lightning. Look at that. What is that? Wow. Wait, the Johnny Bones Jones back kick, right? Can you do? Whoa. Karate Man in the chat. Karate Man in the chat. Because Karate Man, who's on the inside. Someone, please, get homicide investigators to that Fox News studio. Who loves Molly Hemingway? She's only been on the right side. By the way, you see what she did there? She takes a shot at Gowdy without him even knowing. Oh, he figured it out probably later about the Spygate thing, too. Molly, you should do your own. Look at the Karate Man in the chat. Oh, man, you guys trip me out. Molly needs her own Karate Man because she's really good at the Karate Man, too. Because Karate Man. Trey, just stop, man. Stop. Time's up, okay? We're on to it. We're on to the shtick now. Yes, sir. No, we get it. We get it. We've already heard it before. But you're on the wrong side of everything, okay? Okay? We get the fake Tea Party Act. We've been through it before. Here's another reason they hate Gaetz. Here was Matt Gaetz, which is Lloyd Austin, who's the Secretary of Defense now. Lloyd Austin is known. How's he known, Guy, by Biden? Is he that guy? The general over there? That guy? It's the black guy? Yeah, the black man. I think he called him the black man one time. He has a name. His name is Lloyd Austin. It's kind of weird, right, that the Democrats are always talking about racist, that's like the one cabinet guy they can never remember. No. Oh, my gosh, I didn't even think of this. The other guy they can't remember the name of is Javier Becerra, who happens to be a Hispanic. He calls him Javier Baccaria. So it's incredible that the Democrats are always accusing everybody else of being racist. It's absolutely phenomenal that the only people Biden can't remember the name of are Lloyd Austin and Javier Becerra. Isn't that kind of weird? I mean, did we just crash, like rumble completely? Oh, there we go. We're back. Oh, my gosh. What are we doing? This show is like so big. We're like melting servers. 183,000. Come on, let's get to 190. Get your friends in here. Let's do a solid 190 on Monday. Here's Matt Gaetz versus Lloyd Austin, calling him out. Like, hey, man, we're giving you guys all this money and we're getting our asses kicked in all these areas. Like, do you have an explanation for this? This is why they don't want him. Check this out.
Can't help but notice.
And so your question was whether or not we.
I control the time.
Your question.
You guys have been
was
blowing
a
lot of calls lately on matters of strategy, Mr. Secretary. You guys told us that Russia couldn't lose. You told us that the Taliban couldn't immediately win. And so I guess I'm wondering, what in the $773 billion that you're requesting today is going to help you make assessments that are accurate in the face of so many blown calls?
You've seen what's in our budget. You've seen how the budget matches the strategy. And so I'll let that speak for itself.
You notice how they have those little paper tags in front of that says Secretary Austin? Can someone like give him one of those when he's around Biden so everybody knows like his name isn't that guy, the general, or the black man? He has a name. It's Lloyd Austin. We've never been confused. I promise you. Well, guys, when I left the... look, there it is right there. Thank you, Guy, very much. So, Justin, how do you know what order the show goes in? Like when I send these things over? The voicemail, right? The rundown. So when I left on the voicemail today, you listened to it, and I said, the Lloyd Austin clip, were you in any way confused? He was not. He was not. Justin's not even out of college yet. And Justin knows that Lloyd Austin is the defense secretary. Who doesn't know that? Joe Biden. And if he didn't, he would look it up. I had to look up a guy. I don't want to get off track, but I'm in the green room and President Trump introduces me to this guy. I did not know who he was, and I'm glad I looked up who he was. Oh, my gosh. He was not a political guy at all. But I told you, I'm not like a deal cutter type of guy. I don't know a lot of these. And I was like, glad I looked him up. I'll tell that story later sometime. It's pretty funny. Shocker. You got to know who these guys are. It's also why they don't want Hegseth, because they know Hegseth's not going to take that crap either. He's going to go in there and start looking at the budget going, does this contribute to military effectiveness and lethality? No, done. What about this? No, done. DEI, definitely done. Here's the problem we're going to have. There are some Republican senators out there who are still convinced that they had a mandate, not Donald Trump. That is not what happened. Many of you, not all of you, but many of you in the Senate, and definitely the ones in close seats, are only in office right now because of President Trump and his voters. His voters did it. You better get that down right away. So John Thune is going to be the new Senate Majority Leader in this new Senate coming up in just a couple of months. Senator Thune, race is over, folks. We got to move on and focus on the pressure points we can use now. My choice was Rick Scott. Didn't happen. But Thune is now saying that recess appointments are on the table. There's some dispute over what McConnell thinks. He's still in control for a little bit. Rick Scott put out a firm tweet this morning saying, oh, yes, we will use recess appointments. And just to be clear, recess appointments are exactly what they sound like. It's an appointment of someone like Gaetz while the Congress and the Senate are in recess. In other words, if Matt Gaetz can't get the votes, there's been some suggestions of the Vacancy Act, which give Gaetz 210 days. So Gaetz is getting in there, folks. I'm telling you, no matter what, whether it's a vacancy appointment, a recess appointment, or a standard confirmation. Here's John Thune. He's saying the right things. We'll see how he acts. Folks, remember, we're all about spreadsheets. I'm not about personalities. Thune does the right thing, +1. He does the wrong thing, -1. Here he is saying that recess appointments are on the table, and this is what we want to hear. But it's also we want to see it, not just hear it. Check this out.
So you've said that you would do recess appointments if it came to that. What's the threshold for getting to that point for recess appointments?
Well, what I said is, Brett, and I think this is that all options are on the table, including recess appointments. Hopefully it doesn't get to that, but we'll find out fairly quickly whether the Democrats want to play ball or not. And I think part of it is getting these folks. We'll start having confirmation hearings as soon as the new Senate is sworn in January. President takes the oath of office January 20th. By the time he takes the oath of office, hopefully a lot of those nominees will be through their confirmation hearings and will be ready to act on them on the Senate floor.
Okay, they're on the record. I want you guys to save that because it's really important. Folks, recess appointments could be critical. I think Pete will be okay, Hegseth. I think we can go through a standard confirmation. Gaetz, I'm not sure because a lot of these Republicans are squishy already. And I don't like it. Now, why do I keep telling you to call your congressional members as well on the House side, even though they don't have a role in the confirmation process? The Senate confirms. Because they do. But you just said they don't. No, they do. Folks, for Congress as a body to go into recess, the House and the Senate have to agree. If the House and Senate agree and go into recess for 10 days, President Trump can make a recess appointment. We need this. This is a key tactical move. Does everybody get this? Anyone in the chat confused? It allows us to bypass a overly politicized confirmation process at this point with squishes. We've got to use every tool of government we can. Recess appointments are a perfectly constitutional thing. Obama did them, so I don't want to hear your bullshit on the left. Recess appointment. You didn't say anything when Obama did it. So we're going to do it too. We are here to use every lever of government, but we're going to need the House. I ran into Speaker Johnson in this green room at the UFC, spoke to him for a little bit. I just hope he stays on. He seems to understand the trench warfare theory of politics going on right now. We'll keep the spreadsheet open, as I've always told you. But here he is on television defending the Gaetz appointment. And I want you to keep this in mind here. The Dan Bongino trench warfare theory of politics. When you're in the trench in a battle, an existential battle to save your life and your country, which we're doing now. I hate warfare analogies, but they punch through. The enemy is that way. Whether the guy next to you cheated on a test in college, you can deal with that later. This isn't the time for that. Is the guy a good marksman in a political fight? Then let's do it. Here is Johnson saying the exact same thing on one of the weekend shows that, hey, man, this isn't the time for that. This is an existential fight for the country. Let's hope he sticks to it. Check this out.
With some of these nominees, Gates, Hegseth, RFK Jr., I wonder, does it matter anymore for Republicans to think of leaders as people who are moral in their personal lives? Is that still important to the Republican Party?
Sure. It's an important issue for anyone in leadership. This is what I'll say about the nominees that the president has put forward, is that they are persons who will shake up the status quo. And I think what the American people have believe and what they've delivered with the mandate in this election is a demand that we shake up the status quo. It's not working for the American people. So use the term in the opening about how these are disruptors. They are. I think that's by design. Any president has the right to name their own cabinet, to nominate persons that they think will fulfill their agenda. And the people that are on this list will do that. They will go into the agencies that they're being asked to lead, and they will reform them.
That's exactly what we want to hear. Just, I'm asking you to put your emotions aside because it matters. I get it. Not everyone is going to be our pick. You know, we had Jim Jordan on our radar, Rick Scott. It didn't work out. But you got to keep the spreadsheet open. We are still going to need to pull some levers. I just had this conversation this morning. Like, politics is a rough, ugly, back and forth, rough and tumble business. I wish it weren't, but it is. You're not always going to deal with the people you want to deal with. You all get that. You're all adults. I don't want to sound like an asshole, folks. I'm not trying to sound like, some avuncular, like, look at me, superior moral figure. I've dealt with this for a long time. You are going to deal with people in politics you don't want to sometimes. The best you can hope for is to get a +1 on the spreadsheet out of them. We need this guy to stay strong. If we need a recess appointment, you're going to need him to call that recess. Keep that in mind. Folks, unconventional times require unconventional measures, and we're in unconventional times. That's why I have no problem with the Gates pick. It's why I'm fully supportive of these other picks, Tulsi, Hegseth, RFK. Shake it up over there. Let's get a different perspective. Trump deserves his team and these people with us when we needed them. Yeah, but he said this and she said that. I get it. I get it. Everybody says a lot of things. What are they doing now? That's all I care about. When we needed this guy, he was there. Which one? All of them. You know why we're in unconventional times? Because, folks, our government's been hijacked. This January 6th pipe bomber case is absolutely exploding. It is the biggest scandal of our time. Put up just the news article first. You saw me report this last Thursday. Well, covering the reporting proper respect of Stephen Richards and John Solomon at Just the News. There is now a credible report from them that the alleged suspect in the pipe bombing incident at the DNC, where the phone companies told the FBI, oh, we can't find him, his cell phone records were corrupted, that those cell phone records are just fine. Which says to me the FBI knows who that was. Folks, I want you to watch this exchange between Tom Massey and Christopher Wray. I may cover this again tomorrow. I hate to do a story twice, but I don't want to leave today without addressing this, and maybe I'll go into more detail. They are hiding from you a huge scandal. The person who planted that pipe bomb at the DNC on January 6th when Kamala Harris was there, I have zero doubt was an inside job. Zero. From credible whistleblowers. Zero doubt. Watch Christopher Wray stumble. This clip's about 1:20, but it's worth your time. When Tom Massey, a great congressman, starts questioning him about the pipe bomber and the phone records. Christopher Wray can't see. He does not want you to know who this is. Check this out.
Director Wray, in light of information provided to us about the FBI's investigation of the January 6th pipe bombs, in an interview with Assistant Director Stephen D'Antuono, Chairman Jordan and I sent you a letter a month ago. Some of the information that we found in that interview was that phone data that could have helped to identify the pipe bomber was corrupted, was unusable. He also wasn't sure who found or how the second bomb was found at the DNC. Do you know how the second bomb was found at the DNC? And when do you plan on answering our letter?
Well, as to the letter, I will work with the department to make sure we can figure out what information we can provide. As you know, this is a very active, ongoing investigation, and there are some restrictions on that, but we will do our best.
Yes, we can handle classified information, and we fund your department, and so you need to provide that.
It's not, respectfully, it's not an issue of classification. It's an issue of commenting on ongoing criminal investigations, which is something that by longstanding department policy we are restricted in doing. And in fact, the last administration actually strengthened those policies partly
That's
because...
not our policy, though, and we fund you. So let's move on. Do you know how the second pipe bomb... Can you tell us how the second pipe bomb was found at the DNC?
Again, I'm not going to get into that here.
900 days ago is when this happened, and you said you had total confidence we'd apprehend the subject.
He's a great Tim Cast. He has one of the best live streams out there at night. We love Tim Pool. He said a very nice compliment out there. He was like, you know, guys, Dan Bongino is the news. I'm not the news. You guys are the news. You guys have made the news. But one of the things I think you guys really enjoy about the show, I hope, is that I try to fit things into a construct that makes sense. You always gauge the success of a tactic by the response of your opponent. Do you notice how the response to Rubio and Ratcliffe has been muted? But the response to Gates and Hegseth hasn't. The left is losing their minds. Pete Hegseth is now the nominee for defense secretary, a huge job running the Pentagon, and Gates at AG. Folks, all the right people are losing their minds. This is what I mean by this. I want you, please, get them those horse blinkers on right here. Look straight ahead. This is super important. When the people who hate you and have weaponized government to destroy the constitutional republic, Donald Trump and you, the MAGA crowd, when the people who hate you are furious about something, they're furious about it for a reason, because they know there is a legal reckoning coming. That's why. And Trump, you've got to trust the plan. Trust what he's doing. Now does, gosh, I don't want to fuck this up. Now does it make sense why he's appointing people in this order? Some people, folks, are more mainstream picks. I told you yesterday, please listen to the show, and some of you got upset at me. It's fine. It's a family. I'm not the king here. I'm not the dad. I'm just part of the family like anyone else. I'm your uncle who likes some Casa Dragones once in a while. That's it. But your uncle's been around a little bit. I said to you, you're not going to like every pick because Trump is gaming this out perfectly. Folks in the chat, do you see what he's doing? Seriously, put it in there. I'm reading. He's announcing some picks that are loyalists. He's not putting anyone who's not loyal in there, but, may not have been the hardest conservatives or MAGA people in the past, but are loyal to him, and he knows they'll get the job done. Got a Rubio, you got a Noam, a Stefanik, a Lee Zeldin. I'm not knocking these people out. I'm just saying he's announcing some of them. He quiets down the temperature on the low, and then boom, boom. Who's got the people's elbow? Rocket in the chat. The people's elbow comes down. The people's elbow. This is what Rock'em Sock'em Robots is. You hit him, you hit him, you hit him. Then all of a sudden they're like, oh, this doesn't hurt you. And then boom! And then there it is. There it is. People's elbow, man, just comes off the top rope. Macho Man Savage style. Do you see what do you think this is being done by accident? Trust your guy. No, not there it is. There it is in chat. You guys are rocking it, man. Yeah, I love you guys. Trust your guy. Who, Dan? No, yeah, trust me, but Trump knows what he's doing, man. Give this guy some time. So let me just say a couple things. Cutesy time is definitely over, all right? This is what cutesy time is over looks like. All the right people are pissed off. And I'm giving you an honest take because I've never bullshitted you. I don't agree with Matt Gaetz on everything. I thought the speaker plan, you heard me on the show. I wish we had an exit plan, a better ramp. I think it worked out. I mean, listen, we can work on Johnson. There's a lot to improve there. McCarthy, who knows? I mean, we'll see in the long term if we can get some legislation passed, however. But let's be straight. We haven't always seen eye to eye on things. But I'm going to tell you something. When it came to the Secret Service debacle and keeping President Trump alive, I met with Matt Gaetz up at the Heritage thing when I did that little congressional hearing we did. And there's no one more concerned about keeping Trump safe than this guy. Let me show you a little Matt Gaetz for all the people freaking out. Like, oh, he's not going to get confirmed. Stand by on that. You sure? Maybe. We'll see. But there's a plan. Trust it. Here's Matt Gaetz versus Christopher Wray. This is one of the finest clips you'll see today. This guy understands that Christopher Wray, who hopefully will be leaving his job the minute Trump is sworn in, Matt Gaetz gets it. The FBI management has worked as a singular force to destroy liberties and freedoms in the United States, and they better get a guy in there who's willing to see it for what it is. This guy sees it. Watch this.
I'm sitting here with my father. I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me and every person he knows and my ability to forever hold a grudge, that you will regret not following my direction. I am sitting here waiting for the call with my father. Sounds like a shakedown, doesn't it, Director?
I'm not going to get into commenting on that.
You seem deeply uncurious about it, don't you? Almost suspiciously uncurious. Are you protecting the Bidens?
Absolutely not. The FBI does not and has no interest in
you won't answer the question about whether or not that's a shakedown, and everybody knows why you won't answer it. Because to the millions of people who will see this, they know it is. And your inability to acknowledge that is deeply revealing about you.
Now, apparently some Republican senators are bitching and moaning and griping already. This guy, Andrew Desiderio, says, hey, my phone's blowing up with Republican aides aghast at the nomination of Gaetz. Were they aghast at the nomination of Derek Farland, sometimes known as Merrick Garland? I'm not so sure. They didn't sound aghast. They were aghastless with Merrick Garland, but now they're aghast. They're aghast. What, do you want to date him? How many times do I got to tell you this? Michael, if I not said this 1,000 times, what is this, a Tinder site? I don't like Matt Gaetz. I don't like the way... Really? What do you want to date with him? What do you want to do? You looking for some after-hour activities with him or something? What are you worried about? All I'm worried about is a guy who gets it and is going to clean up the act over there. Who's a +1 or a -1. I see the world transactionally as a spreadsheet. You're going to fix the government or not. That's it. Senate Republicans, you better get your asses in line. I'm sorry. We've got a big army of people out there not really happy about what happened in the Senate with the majority leader race. We're waiting to see what happens now. This is Trump's pick. A lot of people wouldn't have jobs if it wasn't for Trump. That's a fact. You got your panties in a wad over this? Get with the program. Already got, Susan Collins and others start out, we're not voting. Okay, fine. I promise you, Trump has a plan. Senator Susan Collins, now she opposes Matt Gaetz. Of course she does. Probably loves Merrick Garland. Probably thinks he's a real hero. By the way, just throwing this out there. When this happened, I shouldn't say this. I'll say, because this is going to sound like ex post facto, me trying to look like a ringer, but screw it. I had a feeling this is what, I swear to you, I had no idea, but I had a feeling this is what they were talking about when Trump mentioned at the Madison Square Garden rally, they had a little secret. I wasn't sure it was going to be AG. I thought maybe FBI director or something, but I had a bit of a feeling when Donald Trump said this. Play that cut.
We got to get the senators elected because we can take the Senate pretty easily. And I think with our little secret, we're going to do really well with the House, right? Our little secret is having a big impact. He and I have a secret. We'll tell you what it is when the race is over.
Whatever. Talking about it after the fact sounds kind of dopey. But I had a feeling, I thought maybe FBI director or something, but now I think it's fairly obvious what the little secret may have been. Folks, all the right people are furious. I'm curious here. Bongino, this is a real poll because this is the biggest audience in conservative media digitally. There's no number two. We got 151,000 people, so this is a big freaking poll of MAGA folks right here. That's the big house plus another 50,000. Bongino, if you're out there, get on the case. Yes, you agree with the pick? Very simple. Why? You like the Gaetz pick? No, you don't. I like to say some of you may not. I'm just trying to explain to you that when Dan Bongino tells you cutesy time is over, this is what cutesy time looks like. You want a cutesy time pick? You worried about resumes and who's going to get their lobbyist job and who's, sunning their balls out on a beach in Belize and Ibiza, whatever. That's not this guy. That's not this guy. More. Some of you put more wasn't one of the technical answers, but you get 2 extra points for putting it in. I think we may melt the chat again. Man, you guys are blowing it up. All the right people are pissed. All the right people. I'm not a hypocrite. Matt and I are not the best of friends. Matt and I've had probably 5-6 conversations with him. When he needs something about the Secret Service, we talk. We're not coffee buddies. I'm telling you, this is what cutesy time is over looks like. How do I know that? Folks, who is the #1 deep state reporter, mouthpiece for the deep state intel community? Anybody know? Yes? Ken Delanian. Fusion Ken Delanian. When Fusion Ken Delanian goes on TV about Matt Gaetz and starts melting down, again, folks in the chat, who is he speaking for? The deep state. So if Ken Delanian's saying, oh my gosh, this pick is so terrible, the deep state is freaking out. Measure the success of what you're doing by the response of your enemies. I know that's hard to digest, especially for swampies who are like the National Review crowd. Oh my gosh, we can't have John Bolton. My mustache is burning. We can't have this. When they're freaking out, we did something right. Watch this.
Well, Katie, I've gotten 2 different texts from different people at the Justice Department who just used the word insane to respond and react to this potential appointment, and then also questioning whether Matt Gaetz can be confirmed. And one person asked me to research whether anyone had ever been nominated for the post of Attorney General who had been investigated by the Justice Department. We'll have to look into that, but my initial reading is that I can't think of any time that's ever happened in American history. And not only was Gaetz investigated and not charged, we should point out, in a sex trafficking investigation, but he has been perhaps among the top 5 most vociferous critics of the FBI and the Justice Department, and not just critics, but accusing them of being corrupt and weaponized and unethical at every single congressional hearing that ever, anytime, he's on the Judiciary Committee, and anytime Chris Wray, the FBI director, or Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, or other lower officials have gone before that committee, you could count on Matt Gaetz taking aim at them in very extreme language and accusing them of unethical and corrupt behavior.
Oh my gosh, guys, did you hear that? Michael's like, forget it. Michael's like, I'm totally out on Gaetz. He's like, forget it. I can't do that. He accused the FBI of unethical behavior? Justin says he's out too. Justin's 100%. Justin's a Florida cat too. Well, so is Michael. Now, Michael's still got a lot of Wisconsin in him. We'll work on it. Justin's been a native his whole life. Justin has got like Sunshine State blood in him through and through. You would think he'd be a loyalist. Justin's like, I definitely can't do Matt Gaetz. He's mentioned that the FBI may have been engaged in unethical behavior, and Fusion Ken says it. Justin's like, I'm sold. I'm pulling my support. He's out. He's totally out. He's like, I don't know, man. He's still worried about Star Wars and The Mandalorian. He's only worried about that right now. Folks, always priorities. Always gauge it by the reaction of your political opponents. I'm going to tell you something from some pretty good sourcing. Folks, the head's exploding. It ain't even done yet. You think they're upset about Gaetz? Oh, you just wait. You just wait. It isn't even close to done. They're still sweating Pete Hegseth and Ratcliffe. They don't even know what to do about Tulsi at DNI. They have no idea. This is not the Trump dance, although it looks it. It's the Rock'em Sock'em Robots, kids. Folks, seriously, in the chat, because this is my only interaction with you digitally. Do you agree with me now? This was the way to rock and roll, not to play it ninja style and just do everything slow and keep everything quiet. You seeing the strategy now? Hit them openly, hit them up front, hit them repeatedly. Don't ever let them get their sea legs, and they will never be able to drop enough ink on any one of these people's heads to do any damage like they did last time. The mistake they did last time, they appointed Mike Flynn, that's not a mistake, appointing him. Don't read, yes, just hit him. Who just said that? Who just said that in the chat? Yes, you just hit him over and over again. They appointed Flynn, which wasn't a mistake, by the way. They let the media focus their attention Saul Alinsky style on Flynn without dropping more bombs on their head. And what happened? We lost them. That was the mistake. They're not making that mistake again. You want to see how good of a pick this was? For all the right, cutesy time is over. Here's Andrew McCabe. Can you imagine the balls on this guy? For those of you who don't remember, Andrew McCabe was the acting director of the FBI and the deputy director. He is one of the top 2 or 3 most destructive deep state FBI figures involved in the collusion hoax and spying on Donald Trump. There is no disputing this guy's role in the FBI actions against Donald Trump. I wrote books about it. This guy is knee deep in all of it, Andrew McCabe. Oh, he's pissed off. Oh, he hates this. Andrew McCabe is afraid a reckoning may be coming. Gauge the success by the reaction of losers like this guy. Watch this.
Matt Gaetz, who is potentially on track here to lead the agency that includes the FBI, where you spent so much of your professional life. What are the implications of having Matt Gaetz as Attorney General?
Good morning, Casey. There are so many things that kind of jump out to you when you hear that the prospect of that nomination. But I think the first thing that really impresses me is what it says about Donald Trump's intention for the Justice Department and the FBI. Now, Matt Gaetz is obviously wholly unqualified for this job. He's someone who, I mean, quite frankly, couldn't get hired by the FBI if he was, had he ever been interested in that, which I'm sure he never was.
Michael just said it right. Michael's like, okay, Andrew McCabe with a history of blatant dishonesty as running the deep state FBI. By the way, a guy I've heard from people who know him who was never a street guy at all. He was always a briefer. Like, who came in there and put on a brief, but never actually went out there and actually like shoe leathered a case, okay? Michael's like, oh, he's surely telling the truth this time. Now we should trust him. Now we should trust Andrew McCabe. It's amazing that they put this guy on. Can you imagine the balls on these people? Folks, this is important. I do not speak with forked tongue. Guy, you remember the show when we did the whole show and some people objected? I said the most important pick was what? Remember, he's like, VP. I said, no, it's not. VP is important. I love JD. The most important pick is Attorney General. You remember the show? It happened. That's why we're spending so much time on this. If he can't get through in confirmation, then recess it. I'll show you what I mean coming up. And again, all the right people are losing their mind, including the mustache, John Bolton, who's on a country on planet Earth Bolton's not interested in a nuclear war with at some point. Okay? So I'll take a hard pass on old Jay Botts, all right? Folks, let me take a minute here to tell you about something near and dear to my heart. It's a charity I've been involved with for a long time, Folds of Honor. I'm asking you as a friend, they pay for the advertisement on the show, obviously, but we wind up giving it back to them. We owe a huge debt to the men and women who serve in our military and our first responders, but it doesn't end with them. These heroes have families, spouses and kids, and some of them are never going to see those spouses and kids anymore because they're dead, because they died for you. The ones that do come back with serious injuries, and they're never the same. They need help. These are our heroes. That's where Folds of Honor comes in. This isn't just a sponsor, folks. This is a cause to me. We've donated a lot of personal money to this, and we really love this cause. They do amazing work. They change people's lives through educational scholarships. They give it to the families of American heroes. But the need is incredible. Last year, nearly 7,000 applicants were not able to be fully awarded due to a lack of funding. Please help me out and help Folds of Honor. If you're ready to make a difference, please head over today. I'm asking you as a favor, Bongino Army. This charity, the guy who runs it, Dan Rooney, is a good man. And I mean a really good man. It's foldsofhonor.org. Please make a donation. No amount's too small. You got $1, that's fine. You've got 5, better. You've got 50, you're amazing. That's foldsofhonor.org. Together we can meet sacrifice with hope. It's a great charity, folks. Foldsofhonor.org. Thank you, Folds of Honor. We really appreciate everything you're doing. Okay, back to the show. Measure it, folks. When you have a combination of deep state losers, Ken Delanian, Andrew McCabe, CNN, MSNBC, Rachel Maddow losing their minds over Matt Gaetz, okay? And then you combine it with old school swampy, I hate the term neocons, but this guy meets there's no question this guy meets the criteria. I'm more of a libertarian bent. This guy wants to start a war everywhere, Johnny Bolton. Then you know the case for Matt Gaetz is even better. You want to date the guy? No. Do I want to have coffee with him? No. I'm working. So is he. I need a ball buster. And based on John Bolton's assessment, I think we got one. Watch this.
President-elect Trump intends to nominate Matt Gaetz to run the Department of Justice. What was your immediate reaction when you heard that?
Well, it must be the worst nomination for a cabinet position in American history. I think this is something that falls well outside the scope of deference that should be given to a president in nominating members of his senior team. Gaetz is not only totally incompetent for this job, he doesn't have the character. He is a person of moral turpitude. And notwithstanding how difficult it may be politically, this is a nomination the Republican Party should oppose.
Folks, I need you now, okay? I need you. I need you to listen to this segment. It's really important. Fun time's over for now. This is tactical time. To the chagrin of some on this show, I'm focused on tactics and winning. I say that because a lot of you, like me, are really passionate. And even when the whole Gaetz thing and the speaker thing went down, I'm about plans and plus ones and minus ones. I do not get involved in emotional stuff. I don't. I'm a passionate guy. I don't like the left, but I promise you I win. I asked you a favor, did I not? Tell me I didn't. Even for my haters out there. I said, please vote down ballot. A lot of these guys are going to be turkeys who are Republican congressmen and senators, but we need them because of a very simple tactical reason. Some of you didn't like that. Dan, I'm not voting for anyone with Trump. I said, that's a huge mistake because what's going to happen then is Trump is either going to get impeached or we're not going to get any of our nominees judicial or cabinet approved. Now you're seeing why. Now you're seeing why you've got to vote for a few turkeys sometimes to get a solid Thanksgiving dinner. It's the only way. We don't live in a perfect world. You're never going to get every appointment you want. You're never going to get you're not going to get 55 MAGA loyalists. You're always going to get 5 or 6 turkeys in states like Maine where Susan Collins really doesn't have a choice. Okay? I need you now, though. It is time for you to put the squeeze on your senators and on your, I know the House doesn't have a role in the nominations process. However, they do matter too, and they light their phones up too. I need you. This Bongino army is the most powerful force in conservative media. And believe me, everyone knows it. I need you now. We have millions of people. I need you to make sure that your home state senators are voting yes and getting out of the way. We're not going to get Collins. You're not going to get Murkowski. You can and should call them, but that's not going anywhere. We still have 51. Even if we lose one more, we still got JD to break the tie. This is not the time for cutesy time stuff. Cutesy time is over. I need you, the Bongino army, to make your presence felt. We were very practical with them, and you tell them I said this. Say, Dan asked a favor. We pulled the lever for you. You would have never been in there if it wasn't for me. But candidly, you can be honest with him. I only showed up for Donald Trump. Don't make us look like idiots now, okay? I'm serious. I'm not here to piss anybody off. I'm not here to collect scalps. It's not what I do. I'm here to win. We got you guys in there. This army of people, we did that. We did what you asked. Now we have a request too. The Matt Gaetz poll was overwhelming. There's 151,000 people in this chat room. This is not a small sample. This is what we want. If it doesn't work out, we'll get rid of them. That's okay. We did what you asked. Now it's your turn. This is not a one-way street. There is a backup plan, however. I told you Trump has a plan. Don't get too crazy about any one decision. There's a big plan here. There's a reason for every Rubio. There's a Hegseth and a Gaetz. There's a reason for every Elise Stefanik. There's a Ratcliffe. There's a reason. There's a reason. Trust it. Here it is, ABC News. Folks, they're going to be able to get Rubio and Ratcliffe and Elise Stefanik through no problem. That's not even going to be an issue. They're also going to be able to get probably a couple more through no issue. There's going to be a couple struggles in there, and the Democrat portion of the Senate is going to want at least one scalp. Their scalp right now is Gates. That's who they want. We have another option because Trump's already thought it through. Why do you think Trump wanted the senators up for majority leader to pledge that they'll go along with recess appointments? Because he's stupid? No, because he's actually very smart. I'm going to explain to you recess appointments in a second, but put up the ABC News piece. Recess appointments could short circuit Senate opposition to Trump nominees. They note any of Trump's appointees successfully installed during a recess would have the same legal authority and pay as a Senate confirmed appointee. That said, a recess appointment is temporary, expiring at the end of the Senate's next session, so effectively 2 years. However, there's no bar on successive recess appointments of the same person. It remains a contested legal question. However, you get at least 2 years. That's what we need. Now, what's the complication behind a recess appointment? I don't want to bore you to death with government civics, but it's important you know this. A recess appointment is exactly as it sounds. When the Senate and the House go into recess, in other words, bye-bye, we're going back home to campaign and do constituent services. We're not in D.C. voting. The president can appoint people that have the same exact powers in recess. I'm sorry, there are liberals listening. I don't mean to sound like a dick, but there are people out there. I know you guys know. You're all smart, the MAGA crowd, but liberals don't. These recess appointments carry the exact same weight. The problem is the House and the Senate have to be in recess. And they have to be in recess for about 10 days. And they both have to agree. You get where I'm going with this? So if Donald Trump, say, puts the squeeze on them, says, you guys got to, you need to go back to your districts, maybe go into recess for 11 days, you may have a vehicle to get Tulsi and Matt Gaetz through, who may have a problem. I think Pete will be okay, but Trump had a plan the whole time. Am I explaining this right, folks in the chat? Why do you think he sent that True Social post out a few days ago? I need anyone in the Senate to commit to recess appointments. You think it's because he's stupid? He knows what he's doing. Trust the appointments. Seeing a lot of people, I don't like this guy. I don't like this one. I don't like this. He's doing it for a reason. He's trying to give them enough where they can do the approval process, confirmation process, and then he knows he's going to have to throw a couple recesses in there. Trust this plan, man. He knows what he's doing. He didn't pick these people by accident. Every single one of them has downsides. I got news for you. If Trump were to call me about something, and he is not, I just want to be clear. I'm not hinting anything. He is not, period. I have downsides too, folks. We all do. A lot of these people human beings have baggage. But when you put the whole thing together, it all makes sense. You ever do a puzzle? You look at one piece, you're like, where the hell does that go? And you say, oh, there, it was obvious. That was the hand on the guy's, that was the guy's hand on it. Trust it. He knows what he's doing. Quick break, and I want to get to Rubio and Tulsi, Pete Hegseth, and then we haven't even celebrated the trifecta. We won the House too. Everybody should be celebrating. I don't like to see this intra-party, bullshit going on. These guys are funny. They were talking about the sponsors morning. They're all talking about how to steal my Omaha steaks, which is crazy. They love the Omaha steaks. Nothing delivers comfort and joy like the unrivaled quality and taste of Omaha steaks. Skip the holiday hustle and bustle. Save 50% off gourmet gifts site-wide at omahasteaks.com. This is an amazing gift. Who doesn't like great steaks and food? Get a $30 reward card when you shop early and score an extra $30 off with promo code Bongino. It's a big savings. Paul and I just stocked our new house with Omaha. It was a busy election season. We're out running around. We did not have time to get food ordered or delivered, so we cooked it earlier, put the Omaha steaks in the fridge, and we love it. I love their burgers so much. Sometimes I chop them up and I throw them in a salad. It's that good. I throw them in meat sauce. They're amazing. With 5 generations of experience, they deliver the world's best steak experience, and gifting experts at Omaha Steaks make it easy to deliver the perfect gift with thoughtfully curated gift packages starting at $89.99. From legendary steaks to mouth-watering desserts and more, save 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. Plus, our listeners get an extra $30 off with promo code Bongino and a $30 reward card when you shop early. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $30 off with promo code Bongino, OMAHA. omahasteaks.com. Minimum purchase may apply. Visit omahasteaks.com for details. And our last sponsor today, before we get back to the heads exploding everywhere. Time's our most precious commodity. Many of my listeners ask for advice on, hey, listen, you wrote about this in the book. How do we take advantage of our time? That's why I'm really excited that Hillsdale College is here and offering more than 40 free online courses in the most important and enduring subjects. This is why you're smart and the other side isn't, because you can learn with Hillsdale about the works of C.S. Lewis, the Book of Genesis, the meaning of the U.S. Constitution, the Roman Republic, the history of the ancient Christian church, with Hillsdale's online courses, all available for free. One I've been watching, Marxism, Socialism, and Communism. You want to know the truth about what they're up to? Check it out. The brand new online course is unlike anything Hillsdale's produced before. Over the course of 6 documentary-style episodes, you hear from Hillsdale's professors of history, politics, economics. They look at Marx's life and writings, the misery and brutality, the atrocities of communism in China, the proliferation of cultural Marxism. You explore the ideas in American politics today rooted in Marxism and how they differ from Marxist thought. Start with your free course, Marxism, Socialism, and Communism Today. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/Dan to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. Hillsdale.edu/Dan to register. Hillsdale.edu/Dan. Those courses are great. Check them out. Okay, the team is coming together, folks. The best way I've described it, which I heard someone kind of fleece from me last night on cable news, which is okay. You can take it. I'd wish you'd give us credit, but whatevs. I call them the Avengers. The Avengers are back, okay? This is the team of Avengers. But even with the Avengers, you need some guys in the Avengers in there, in the team who, you need your Hawkeyes, right? Your Hawkeyes and the people who may not be like Captain America, but they get it. They understand what humans are like. Captain America don't understand what humans like. He took the super serum. Now he's superhuman, okay? You need a Hawkeye once in a while, right? You need that. That's why you're getting picks like this. Rubio. Now, Rubio knew a lot about the deep state Spygate thing. We got to clear that up. But there's a reason Donald Trump picked Rubio. He's not stupid, folks. Anyone in the chat have any idea? Some of you may object to this. I'm not telling you you're going to like everyone. Rubio has bona fides with both sides. We've got to cut deals, folks. Dan, we should be I'm talking about on the legislative side. We have the slimmest of buffers when it comes to the House. We lose one rhino and it's going to be done. Someone gets sick, it's over. They had to pick a couple of people let me give you a quick example in case you think I'm crazy. Democrats and Republicans in the past have typically picked someone from the opposite party for their cabinet. You've got like the John Huntsman for Obama. Huntsman was a Republican. I'm pretty sure Trump's not going to pick a Democrat. Could argue Tulsi, but she's now a Republican, so that's kind of different. Tulsi's been going that way for a long time. But there's a reason he picked a Rubio. He doesn't want a Democrat, but he needs a couple of guys in there who have some bipartisan appeal. And please, someone said to me yesterday, I almost lost it on the air. You're getting soft. I'm getting soft. Who the hell opened this show telling you about heads exploding, telling you cutesy time is over? I'm asking you not to trust me. I didn't pick him. I'm not the president. Don't trust me. Trust him. He knows what he's doing. I promise you. When I know something from the inside, I'll tell you. I know from the horse's mouth, man. He knows exactly what he's doing. And let me tell you something. People are going to be on a short leash. Do you understand? There's not going to be any more Rex Tillerson bullshit. People are going to be on a short leash. He knows he's got 2 years. He's got 4. No, he's got 2. He absolutely understands. Please trust me. Have I let you down yet on anything? Trust me. Please trust me. He's got a plan here. Then we got Tulsi Gabbard at DNI. I really like that pick a lot. I like Tulsi. The former Democrat thing, the abortion position bothers me a lot, but as DNI, it's not going to be about politics. It's going to be about national, the intel swamp. And no one has been a bigger fighter against the swamp and censorship than Tulsi Gabbard. It is what it is. And I like the pick. You're free to object. I'm not the monarch here. The thing that's great about this family is this is a family. I am not the freaking dad, okay? I'm just one of you guys. And of course, we have Gates. This is a really strong national security team. Folks, can you imagine if we can get Kash Patel over at FBI? That's my guy. That's my pick. Donald Trump makes his own picks. He does not need advice from Dan. I love you, President Trump. You're my guy. I'm just telling you, I think Kash Patel. Can you imagine this dream team here? Again, You're looking at a national security crisis. You've got Hegseth. You've got Tulsi. You've got Ratcliffe. You've got Kash Patel. You've got the Secret Service director, the ATF director. Imagine that little Justice League table. You want them making decisions? Or you want Lloyd Austin making decisions with his face mask and 72 masks on? That's who I want. And by the way, congratulations. CNBC finally projected to win the House majority. It was obvious. We secured the trifecta. But I'm going to say to you again, throw that up. Thank you. Thank you all. Round of applause for you. Thank you for doing it. Listen, I know a lot of you objected. And I respect you. A lot of you said I'm there to vote for Trump. And I tried to explain to you that you got to pull the lever for these Republicans. Hold your nose. I know they're not the solution to your problems, but the Democrats are the cause of your problems. Are you seeing why now? Folks, if we did not get Bernie Moreno, John Tester, Tim Sheehy, who ran against John Tester, if we did not get Jim Justice, if we did not get Dave McCormick in there, are you seeing now why the Dan Bongino down ballot, not theory, but fact, works? There's no way you'll get a Gates or a Hegseth. There is no way. If you don't have 51, you're not going to get confirmed at all. And then they can't recess appointment everyone. They can't. It would never fly. Trust this plan, man. Trust it. By the way, I'm going to get back to this in a second with, you know what? Let's just go to, you got that Thune video? Because there's a bombshell January 6th pipe bomb thing that came out last night, which in the context of everything going on almost got lost. Sorry, you just threw it up on the screen, and I that's not your fault. I got a little distracted because it's such a bombshell. Sorry, stay tuned. I'm going to get to that. I promise you. But just quickly, John Thune yesterday won the Senate majority race, okay? It's over. I'm not wasting any more time on it at this point. There's nothing to waste our time on. He was not my pick. My pick was Rick Scott. That's obvious. He was on the radio show twice. It didn't work out. We're not going to win them all. I wish we would have won that one. We didn't. Now let's hope Thune sticks to his word. It's up to you as a resident of South Dakota and elsewhere to keep this guy on track. Yesterday, he said that he's all about the Trump agenda and getting these nominees pushed through. I want you to do me a favor. Cut this video right here, folks, and keep it on your phone, because if these guys bury Gates and others, we're going to tell them, wait, didn't you just say you're going to push these guys through? Because we have the video. Watch this.
When it comes to choosing nominees who will pass Senate confirmation?
Well, as you know, the Senate has a advise and consent role under the Constitution, so we will do everything we can to process his noms quickly, get them installed in their position so they can begin to implement his agenda.
Okay, listen, I'm not being a dick about it. I'm just saying, you said it. You said you will, quote, do everything you can to get them processed quickly. We're just holding you to your word. We're withholding judgment. We wanted someone else. That didn't happen. That race is over. I'm a tactical guy. There's no sense wasting time on a race that's already finished. You don't put your money on a horse that's already lost the race, okay? That race is over. You go to bet in the next race now. But you said it, and now we're going to hold you to it. We're expecting these people to be pushed through. You said it. Folks, the one guy we've got to get through in a critical position is Pete Hegseth. We've got to do everything. I want to prepare you right now. This confirmation hearing, if it's not a recess, is going to be brutal. They are going to do everything they can. Do you have any idea how many, I'm talking trillions here, and that's not an Austin Powers mistake. Trillions of dollars of defense contracts over decades are at stake here. There is not a more broken process than Pentagon procurement and our DEI woke military management. Then this, they do not want Hegseth because he's a change agent. They are terrified of him. We've got to burn a lot of capital in this. We've got to make sure he gets through. It is going to be a horrendous confirmation process for him. He's ready for it. He's a door kicker, but this is one we need. If we don't reform our military, listen to your guy. We are not going to have a country. There's not going to be a freaking country left. I'm telling you right now, we've got to get this done. Gates and Hegseth, we got to get it done. Here is base John Roberts on Fox. John Roberts, who, by the way, I don't know John that well. I met him a few times at Fox. Always a very nice guy. Again, none of this is personal. If he was a dick, I'd tell you he's really not a very nice guy. But I never really took John for kind of like a based, like conservative guy. He's been tearing it up on Fox. John's like Hannity. He's turned into like this really great defender of the freedom and liberty agenda. And it came out of nowhere. Here he is yesterday calling bullshit on Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas, the biggest fraud in the Senate, attacking Pete Hegseth as our defense secretary nominee. Watch this.
Elizabeth Warren decided that she wanted to go on X and talk about Pete Hegseth. She said, quote, "A Fox and Friends weekend co-host is not qualified to be the Secretary of Defense. I lead the Senate Military Personnel Panel. All three of my brothers served in uniform. I respect every one of our service members. Donald Trump's pick will make us less safe and must be rejected." Well, first of all, she says she respects all service members. Doesn't sound like she respects Hegseth. And I looked through her pedigree. Unlike Pete Hegseth, she did not attend Princeton or go to graduate school at Harvard. So, I mean, is she in a position to be throwing stones?
Base John Roberts strikes again. By the way, I've got to give credit to producer Jim. That's his name. She don't know shit. She's pretended to be an Indian. Remember Pow Wow Chow? Do you remember that? She put a recipe in the book for Pow Wow Chow. This is who Elizabeth was. She's attacking an Ivy League graduate, decorated military officer with 2 decades of military experience, including combat experience. You're attacking. I love how they call him, by the way, a Fox News host. A Fox News host. Really? That's insane. Would they say the same thing about Mark Levin? You realize Mark Levin served in the Justice Department. He's been an activist forever. He's written best-selling books. He's filed lawsuits on behalf of the Constitution. What is he? Is he a Fox News host too? Dead Bongino, a shitty podcast host. I'm not even going to give you my resume because I'd sound like an asshole. But I'm assuring the liberal D-bags like Warren and others with no resume at all other than Pow Wow Chow, we've actually done something before. And we speak credibly about these issues. And maybe that's why we have a following, including 192,000 people now. And you've got shit. Fox News host. And they act like that's an insult. It's only the biggest conservative cable news channel on earth. And he has huge ratings on the weekend. Millions of people listen. Hey, Fox News host. Dumbasses. We got to get this guy through. Folks, if you've seen this, I'm going to give you a second. Call your friends. Tell them to tune into this right now. This is important. I'm serious. I accidentally flagged an email here too, which is kind of weird. So sorry. All right, I'm flagging. All right, you got them? Go get your friends. This is critical. Folks, whoever comes in to FBI, hopefully it's Kash Patel and Secret Service, this has to get cleaned up. This came out last night, and in all the hubbub and heads exploding and rock'em sock'em robots around Hegseth and Gates, this story got lost. Julie Kelly texted me this morning, hat tip John Solomon. This is from Just the News. January 6th shocker, and this is a shocker. The phone companies are now disputing, shocker, the FBI's testimony on the pipe bomb suspect. Barry Loudermilk, a Republican lawmaker, reveals. Leave that up on the screen a second. Do you remember when the FBI said, hey, that guy who we triangulated his cell phone, the guy who allegedly planted the bombs in front of the DNC where Kamala Harris was on January 6th? I know many of you are familiar with the story. For those of you who aren't, Kamala Harris was at the DNC on January 6th. She was only at the Capitol for a small amount of time, and there was a bomb found outside. Really? Yes, really. Look it up. Well, the guy was on his cell phone because there's video of it. Meaning we could figure out who the guy was by his freaking cell phone. What cell phone pinged? Well, the FBI told us that the cell carriers told them that the data was corrupted. Really? Because now the cell carriers have told Congress, oh, no, it wasn't corrupted. They have intact phone usage data from the vicinity where 2 pipe bombs were planted during the January 6th incident. Oh, really? Directly disputing FBI testimony that agents couldn't identify a suspect because the phone data was corrupted. But as Two Thumbs had called it, I told you this was bullshit. Folks, I'm telling you what happened. There is a massive cover-up because the person who planted those pipe bombs, they don't want you to know who it was because it's either a connected anti-Trump insider or this was an inside job. Those bombs were planted there. This was a setup. I have zero doubt. And whoever goes into Secret Service better get those texts. And whoever goes into FBI, Kash Patel or anyone else, you better get an answer from that Stephen D'Antuono about why the hell they said that these phone data records were corrupted. They know who planted those bombs. And I'm telling you, it is the biggest scandal in modern American history. Those bombs were planted by someone they knew. It was meant to shut down the January 6th questioning of the certification process by Republicans to set up a fake assassination plot against Kamala Harris. I have absolutely zero doubt about that. The data has been there the whole time, just like we says. Just like we says. By the way, I was watching Unforgiven. Ever seen Unforgiven? That is the single greatest Western movie I think ever made. I know that may be heresy to some, but I absolutely love it. Remember the Duke of Death scene? It's the Duck of Death. It's the Duke. Duck, I says. Like I says. This was a fake assassination plot. Trust your guy. Folks, the media and the death to democracy crowd, the real death to democracy to them, they cannot reconcile their position now. As this transition goes forward, you are going to see more messaging confusion on the left. They don't know what to do. They're trying to balance to their... You have to remember, they were telling their listeners and their viewers at MSNBC and elsewhere that Donald Trump was actually Hitler. I don't mean like biologically Hitler, he's dead. I mean like actually Hitler and that they shared the same Nazi ideology. A position so stupid, only a moron or a liberal would believe it. Some of them did. I know it's hard for you to process. Come on, they didn't really believe. No, they did. So now they're having a real problem, adjusting their message as the transition happens and Biden and Trump are shaking hands in the Oval. I thought he was Hitler. Now they have to acknowledge that they were lying the whole time trying to scare their people. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre, completely overwhelmed and confused about this question, has no idea how to answer it. This is going to be a big problem going forward. Check this out.
In the meeting, we saw a unified front related to a transition in the Oval Office meeting, but a lot was said on the campaign trail, like Trump is a dangerous threat to our country and our democracy. Was there an apology today?
I'm sorry?
Was there an apology from
President Biden
for the words, some of the words used?
An apology from the President Biden.
To President-elect Trump for some of the words that was used on the campaign trail.
Look, and I've answered this a couple of times about a threat to democracy in the past week. The president is going to always feel obligated to be honest with the American people. What he says still stands. And it's not just him. You heard this from former staffers. You've heard it from the former chief of staff, John Kelly, and others. You've heard it directly from the president-elect, a former president, about enemy of the people. Very, very clear. Very clear. What we want to be also very clear about is the importance of listening to the will of the American people.
How the hell can you listen to the will of the American people if they just picked what you told everyone was Hitler and a Nazi? Folks, this is a real problem going forward. Can I do a thought exercise with you? I know this stuff is typically stupid, but in this case, it'll matter. I get so many people out there. Who are genuinely confused. They're like, no way, Dan, they didn't believe. I'm telling you, they believe it. If there was a person you really trusted in politics, right? Let's say it was Trump, for example, and he tells you he loses to some Barack Obama type and says, this guy's a communist who's going to come in tomorrow and crush the country. There's going to be a bunch of people who are going to buy it. They don't want to see the guy in there shaking hands. They're having the same problem on the left. They don't know where to go with it. It was always bullshit. Here's a quick video. It was from CNN. Here's a bunch of Biden staffers out there yesterday taking pictures of the moment Trump arrived. What do you want a picture of Hitler for? I don't say you're going to show your family. Hey, look, we met Hitler today. Here, watch this CNN report. Check this out.
Sitting here as Caitlin was on, looking at that imagery, and it's really stunning. Those are
those are Biden staffers. They're in the EOB. Some of them are lower level, some of them perhaps a little bit higher. But they're there to watch a history moment being made that nobody standing there wanted.
Yet they're out there taking photos of it. This is a real messaging issue. I want you to understand that. You guys are way too smart. I've had a bunch of people email me, oh, Dan, they're not upset because they never believed it. No, they did. And now the left is having a hard time tactically raising money from their people. Think about this, okay? Even better kind of a true story moment here for you. Think about this. You've gone to your big donors and said, I need $100,000. Your big donor, it's a lot of money to get Kamala Harris elected because this guy is freaking Hitler. Now, all of a sudden, you give your $100,000. You're calling up you got a direct line to these ringers. You're like, what the just happened? You told me to give you $100K to stop Hitler. Now you're shaking his hand? Folks, it's been bullshit the whole time. And the media had an opportunity to correct the bullshit and get the left on the straight and narrow and say, listen, fight the fight the right way on the issues. You object to Trump, say why. Stop calling him Hitler. Nobody's going to buy it. You're going to gin up your base and you're going to look like morons. They couldn't do it because the lefty media people are freaking commies too. And I have not heard this expressed any better, this show included, than Greg Gutfeld on The Five. He's saying right here in this short 1-minute clip, he's talking about exactly what I'm saying, that the media had an opportunity for a sister soldier moment where they could have finally said, listen, whatever, we don't like this guy. Here's why you think he's dangerous. But that shit's out of line, okay? He's not a racist. He's not a misogynist. He's not a Nazi. And you didn't do it. And now your time is up because now you're going to have to admit to your people you were bullshitting the whole time. This is an unbelievable clip. Watch every second of this. Check this out.
Greg, how do you think the Democrat Party's autopsy is going?
Well, first of all, the media is like the creep that's responsible for the disappearance of his spouse, but then volunteers to lead the search party. You know, in this case, it's a disappearance of truth, and they lied about everything, but they're offering their help, you know, to expose the suspects, comb the fields, put flyers up on telephone poles. But the jig is up. It's not about left or right anymore. We know that you're the real killer, OJ. It's the media that fed the hoaxes, that created this complete, I don't know, mental breakdown. Identity politics has to go, but it has this permanent flaw. It can only work by telling you who isn't included as it tells you who is. When you look at the people that are important, it creates a hierarchy and it pisses people off. In this case, it was black men, Hispanic men. So how do you rectify this when you've raised a generation on basically junk food for your soul? It's toxic. I mean, you have to admit, if you abandon it, you're going to lose a faction. But you know that it's a small faction. This is the Band-Aid that you actually have to pull off.
They don't want to rip off the Band-Aid. For those of you who don't remember the sister soldier moment, it is critical you understand this. Please look it up. It was when Bill Clinton was asked as president to condemn this rapper, Sister Soldier, who put out this song with these lyrics. And everybody told him, don't do it. You're going to offend this community, that community, leave it alone. And he went out and did it. And you know what? He went out and did it. And a lot of Republicans and others were like, okay, I may not like the guy, but at least he did it. That's what a sister soldier moment is. It's when you do something that the right thing and not the easy thing. The media had that opportunity. They didn't do it. And their credibility is now shit. Nobody believes them. Here, you want more evidence? Again, what has two thumbs and told you JD's the guy? This guy. Here's a Guy Benson tweet. How it started. Here's how it's going for JD Vance. He entered the race with the worst favorability ratings of any VP pick in the modern polling area. Leave that. Why is that, by the way? Leave that up. Why? Not because of JD. I told you, cut through the bullshit. This guy's amazing. He's going to be great. The media said he's weird. Well, how well did that stick? Double barrel middle finger. It didn't. JD ended the campaign as the only candidate on either major ticket with a positive favorability score amongst the electorate. Extraordinary. Thank you, Guy, but it's not extraordinary if you knew JD. I told you what the media was going to do. And because nobody trusts these idiots anymore and everybody's laughing at them, JD went from being attacked as weird to people going, well, the media said he's weird, so that probably means he isn't weird. Let me look into it. Oh, wow, not only is he not weird, this guy's a really great candidate. By the way, keep your eyes on this in Pennsylvania. They're trying to steal that Pennsylvania Senate race. I don't think they're going to be successful, but after the Norm Coleman, Al Franken debacle in Minnesota, I'm not so sure. Be very careful. Keep your eyes on Pennsylvania, where Mark Elias and Bob Casey are trying to steal outright steal it. Of course, they're election deniers, but keep your eye on, there's a tweet up about this. Their lawyers are actually in court right now arguing to count ballots of non-registered voters, unsigned mail-in ballots without dates, and ballots cast in a county where the voter does not live. In other words, illegal ballots. Why? Because that's what the Democrats do. They're election deniers. Be very careful about that race. Really, keep your eyes on it. Those people are the real election deniers. Folks,